In this video, I'm going to cover how to factor polynomials quickly. We will look at various types of polynomials. For trinomials that have an x squared with a 1 in front, those will always factor with an x times an x. We then need to determine what two numbers will multiply to be 15 and also add up to 8. So we have 1 times 15 that will multiply to be 15, and we have 3 times 5. Only this pair will add up to 8. So that's what tells you that this is the correct factorization. We could check our factorization by multiplying this back out. X times x is x squared, x times 5 is 5x, 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 5 is 15. Combining our like terms, we'll see that we get back to the original polynomial. Let's try another one. For the second problem, we also have a 1 in front of x squared, so we know that it'll multiply as x times x. Now we need to figure out what two numbers multiply to be negative 18 that will also add up to positive 7. So it's best to start with a list of multiples. We have negative 1 times 18, negative 2 times 9. We could see that negative 2 plus 9 would be positive 7. So that's what tells us these are the correct factors. So we'll plug in minus 2 and plus 9. Let's try a different type. What about the trinomials that have a number besides 1 in front of x? For these, we're going to use a different process. This is often called the AC method. So for this method, we will multiply 4 times 3 to get 12. What two numbers multiply to be 12 that will add up to the middle term of 8? And those two numbers are 2 and 6. The AC method is a little bit different because we will then write 8x as two terms. So we will have 4x squared, and we will change the 8x to 2x plus 6x. When we have 4 terms to factor, we often use the grouping method. We group these into 2 terms and 2 terms and factor out the GCF. What do 4x squared and 2x have in common? And they have 2x in common, so we will factor that out. 4x squared divided by 2x is 2x. And 2x divided by 2x is 1. Now we look for the GCF out of the last two terms, which is positive 3. 6x divided by 3 is 2x, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we will factor 2x plus 1 out of this first set and 2x plus 1 out of the second set. And we will put a new set of parentheses, and these two factors drop down into that set of parentheses. You can check this by FOIL to see that this is correct. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 1 times 2x is 2x. And 1 times 3 is 3. Combining the 6x and the 2x, we'll get back to the original problems. Let's try another one of the harder type trinomials. Again, we'll use the AC method. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. And we need to figure out the numbers that multiply to be 42. A negative 3 and a positive 14 will be 11x, but we need negative 11x. We'll change the sign on those. So again, with the AC method, we rewrite the middle term into 2 equivalent terms using our 2 factors we found. And then we will group these, and we'll take out the GCF of 6 and 3 and the GCF of x squared and x. 6 divided by 3 is 2, x squared divided by x is x, and 3x divided by 3x is positive 1. Whenever there's a negative here on this third term, we will need to factor out a negative for it to work. And our GCF of these two terms is negative 7. So negative 14x divided by negative 7 is 2x, and negative 7 divided by negative 7 is positive 1. We can then factor out the binomial that both of these factors have in common, and that leaves the other two terms, the 3x and minus 7, to go down here into a new set of parentheses. Try checking it, but you should get back to the original problem. Now let's try a different factoring method. The next factoring method I'm going to show you is called the difference of two squares. And basically, In this method, there are two perfect squares we will look for. So let's factor 25x squared minus 36. We're going to factor this into two binomials. Using this method, we will take the square root of 25, which is 5, and the square root of x squared, which is x. Then we will take the square root of 36 to be 6, and one of these will always factor into a plus and the other one a minus. You can multiply this out to check it. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. 5x times negative 6 is negative 30x. 6 times 5x is 30x. And 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. The negative 30x and positive 30x will drop out, so we'll just have the 25x squared minus 36 left over. So this shows the factorization was correct. Let's try another one that has two variables in it. 16x squared minus 81y squared. Again, we will factor this by taking the square root. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of x squared is x. The square root of 81 is 9. And the square root of y squared is y. So we will just put a plus and a minus, and this is our complete factorization. Next, I'll try a problem that combines a couple of these methods. 3x squared minus 27. As you can see, there's a common factor of 3 in both terms. So we will factor out a 3. 3 times x squared will give us 3x squared, and negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. This is the difference of two perfect squares. X times x will give us x squared, and 3 times 3 will give us 9. We just need one to be a plus and one to be a minus. So this is the complete factorization. Next, let's try some factoring of 4 terms. Whenever we see 4 terms to factor, we should check to see if we can factor it by grouping. One way to check this is to check the ratios. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So these have the same ratios. So we will break this into pairs and factor it by grouping by taking out the GCF. 3 divides into 9 and 3, and x squared is the lowest of the powers of x here. So 3x squared is the GCF. 9 divided by 3 is 3. X cubed divided by x squared gives us x. And for this term, 3x squared divided by 3x squared is positive 1. For the last two terms, 5 is the GCF. 15x divided by 5 is 3x, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Again, these match, which means we can factor it by pulling out the 3x plus 1 factor from both terms, leaving us with 3x squared plus 5. So this is the complete factorization for these 4 terms. Feel free to multiply it back out and check the answer. Let's try one last problem. Factor 3x squared minus 6x minus 4x plus 8. We have 4 terms, so we're going to check the ratios to see if it's factorable by grouping. 3 divided by negative 6 is negative 1/2. Negative 4 divided by 8 is negative 1/2. So this should be factorable by grouping. Pull out the GCF of 3 and 6, which is 3, and x squared and x, which is x. 3 divided by 3 is 1, which we don't need to put that. X squared divided by x is x. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. And x divided by x cancels. Next, we have a negative on this first term, so we must factor out a negative. And 4 is the GCF of 4 and 8. Negative 4x divided by negative 4 is x. And 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. These two match, which is good. So we will factor out x minus 2. From both of these, leaving us with 3x minus 4. This is our final answer. So now you should have a good understanding of the most common factoring methods. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe for more math tips.